Since we first visited Thailand for a survey trip in the month of September 2011, I have sensed that the key to reaching the country of Thailand was to learn how to reach Thai men. It was also apparent that understanding Thai men so that we can reach them would take a great deal of effort over a long period of time. I was especially drawn to ministries that had seen some success in reaching men. As we traveled across America, raising our support to live and minister in Thailand, an idea began to form that would accomplish several tasks at once. I came to call the concept our Uttermost Focus Week. The idea behind the week is that we would take our men to a very remote area of the country to help a church with evangelism and building projects, while holding morning and evening sessions for the men. I began to pray these specific requests. 1. For the finances to really help with facilities. Secondly, that we might see someone get saved. Thirdly, that our hearts would be revived. And fourthly, that we might find a young man or two interested in serving the Lord with their lives. At the time, I had no idea we would be spending the present time filling in for a missionary with a well-established work, affording the opportunity to have our very first Uttermost Focus Week in our very first year of living in Thailand. As we went, the Lord exceeded our expectations, answering every prayer request we had asked. First of all, we had 2 separate churches give very generously toward the project in the month leading up to this past week. We began the week by inviting the men from a few good churches nearby to join us for a dinner and men's service. My older brother, an assistant pastor at one of our supporting churches in Michigan, traveled out to join us for the trip as well. Pastor Sitone Konkeo, a great Thai pastor nearby, brought us a challenge from our theme verse for the week, 1 Corinthians 16:13. After receiving a great blessing from the message, the men from our church loaded into 2 pickup trucks and started a 12-hour drive to the eastern Thai province of Royet. The Nong Wang Baptist Church in Royet Province was started several years ago when the parents of some church members here in Lamphun trusted Christ. Person by person, the little church has grown, and now a faithful group meets on a little piece of property donated by its first members. Please pray for the Lord to send a pastor for this growing flock. As we arrived at the church on Friday night, a man named Sutat came into church from the village, seemingly troubled. He told us that he was having problems in his family and asked us what we thought he should do. I sat with one of our men, Gowit, and together we explained the power of the gospel to change a life. He was not ready to be saved that night and left saying that he needed to think about the things we had said. On Sunday morning, I was halfway through preaching when Sutat came into the service. At the invitation, Gowit asked if he was ready to be saved, and in spite of his many curious, onlooking neighbors, he said that he wanted to be a Christian. The moment also presented the opportunity to teach the church members a little more about the nature of a gospel invitation. Throughout the week, we found the men of the Nong Loam Baptist Church to be incredibly hardworking. Evenings afforded the opportunity for me to ask endless questions about Thai culture. Our most profitable discussion was perhaps a talk about the obstacles that a Thai man must overcome to serve the Lord with his life. I found that many of my perspectives changed by a newfound understanding of this country and its men. One of the great blessings of the week was being joined by a member of Nong Wang Baptist Church who is currently living in southern Thailand for work. After 6 years of being a monk, Bam became a Christian in part through the influence of the founding family of Nong Wang. His skills were a tremendous asset to our work, particularly in the installation of a water tower for the well. On the last day, I asked him about his future plans, and he told me that he felt through the week the Lord had been impressing on his heart to serve the Lord, perhaps as a pastor someday. We also accomplished several other projects on the property, including the beginning of foundations for a home for a future pastor. The final day of the trip, we met with men from 2 other churches in the central town of Pitsanulok, Thailand. Missionary Mike Sullivan graciously hosted us in his church and brought the last challenge, capping the theme of the week with some great thoughts on the context of the passage in 1 Corinthians. Again, we had the opportunity to sit and listen to the men express their desire to serve the Lord and share the struggles of being a godly Thai Christian man. As we recapped the week with the men of our church, it was certainly evident that God had strengthened each of their hearts. We want to say a big thank you to all those who prayed for the week, and a special thanks to the Shadow Mountain Baptist Church and the Lighthouse Baptist Church for the giving that made this week possible. Your partnership for the gospel has resulted in fruit both now and for years to come.